Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of our audio production town hall meeting. My name is Derek Harvin, and I'm the course director for Project and Portfolio 7 here in the audio production bachelor's track. So if you're matriculating towards the end in the bachelor's program, I will see you at the very end, and I'm really excited to do so. But as you all remember, each month we have this audio production town hall meeting. This is where we get together in this virtual space to discuss audio related topics as well as industry related topics to help you along the way as you're studying through your courses and in the degree program that you're in. Today we have a very, very special guest. He has been in the music industry for several years, some decades, a lot of experience. Got a chance to connect with him and talk, to hear all the wonderful things. And we have an interesting chat today. We're gonna be discussing A&R. So what is A&R? Our guest today is also a grad of our Recording Arts Associates program from 2006, as well as he has held positions of A&R at Sony, Universal, and also EMI. So it is a great pleasure today. And additionally, and leave out the most important credit, he is also the consultant and owner of the Cudelis label group. Sorry, got tongue tied. Sorry, but it's my pleasure to introduce to you all Mr. Jarrett Dyson. How you doing today, Jarrett?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Sorry for screwing up your company name. I practiced that quite a bit. Got a little tongue tied. But it's a great pleasure. You know, I just wanted to personally thank you for all that you've been doing behind the scenes and what you contribute to our students, many and the experiences through the projects that you have brought to the school. So, you know, we're just extremely grateful to have you here today as we discuss A&R. So before we get into it, you know, as this meeting came up, you know, we were discussing what A&R is. A&R stands for Artists and Repertoire. And for those who don't fully understand that, it is really the role that works with the artist and also the liaison between the artist and the record company, managers, attorneys, and you name it, the person that gets a lot of the things done that you don't really see that's working behind the scenes. So Jarrett, tell us a little bit about, you know, how you got into A&R.
Yeah, well, you know, it's an interesting story. I'm originally from Anchorage, Alaska. Fell in love with music, started playing drums when I was 6. In 2000, started playing keys at church. And so I was really into just, you know, writing and producing my own stuff. And so that's how I found Full Sail, because, you know, I just wanted to do my own stuff. But it's funny because while I was doing that, you know, there was a show back in the day called Making the Band. And, you know, watching Diddy and all of them do that stuff behind the scenes, I was like, yo, this is really cool. And so, you know, once I got to Full Sail and started getting into the studios and stuff like that, I was like, man, I think I like behind the scenes a little bit better, you know. And so from there, literally, I want to say maybe like in my 6th month of being in school, you know, started using my email, my Full Sail email, to reach out to labels to see if I could get internships, you know, there. And ultimately, my goal was to be A&R for a label because, of course, it was what I saw on TV. I saw the process of creating music and stuff like that, and that was really my goal, was to make it to be in A&R. And so, you know, reached out, made connections, and literally had my internship maybe 2 months before I graduated. So yeah, so it was my you know, incentive to graduate, you know, because I had a label waiting on me to start an internship. So yeah, so that's really how I got to it, was kind of Diddy show, you know.
That's awesome. You said quite a bit there because, you know, you're 6 months into the program, you already had that mindset of like, what's next?
Yeah.
And I know as a director and as instructor here at Full Sail, that's something that I encourage my students to, like, while you're in your classes, you know, do your research, you know, the fields that you're wanting to get into, find the key players. LinkedIn is resourceful for that, to find who's in positions, to maybe who to reach out to. But that's good. And your story, Jared, that's interesting because we have a lot of students who come to the program who want to sharpen up on their engineering. That's maybe come from a background of playing music, just as I have. I've been playing music in church likewise. And then, you know, wanted to, you know, really polish up the productions and just get things ready for prime time. So that's awesome because your story relates to a lot of students, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
once you landed into A&R, I mean, how was that? Did you had to probably most likely had to relocate, most likely, right?
Yeah, so I graduated, I believe it was November 22nd, and literally was up and out of there in Nashville, Tennessee, November 23rd. Up at the label, trying to find my spot to live and stuff like that. But yeah, no, literally just kind of once I got there, I started out as a dual role. It was A&R intern as well as radio intern. And so I was working with somebody that y'all probably know. I was interning for Brandon Edgerton, and then who's now program director in recording arts. But at the time, he was head of A&R at EMI. So I interned for him and a guy by the name of Ken Cook, who was in radio. And I watched Ken Cook, on the phones all day, working. Hey, you got my single? You got my single? And then I also watched Brandon. We were actually working on one of the first projects I worked on was a Kiera Sheard project,
Okay.
and like we were in there and just kind of watching Brandon and shadowing him, from getting the session started to making sure that white sheets and label copy and stuff like that was turned in, and it was a lot of paperwork at first. Which is cool. Like it wasn't what I was expecting, but it was definitely awesome. And the president of the label at the time, Ken Pennell, he told me, he said, "Man, anybody can create, but the paperwork is what businesses look at, of course." So that was something that I kind of took to heart, and so I really kind of stuck in there and learned the white sheets. And what white sheets is the writers that are in the room, what are their splits, what are their writer splits? Is it a 50-50 split? Is it 25 down the line? What is their publishing? Do they have publishing? Are they a publishing company or are they a publishing designee? We can discuss that as well. But what do those splits look like, and how do you contact the publisher to make sure that everybody gets paid? So that's what I really kind of honed in on at that time. And Brandon was a really good mentor to me. I always say that when I got there, I was telling him about a place called Full Sail, and while he was teaching me A&R, then we kind of switched spots. So he went to Florida, I stayed there, and
Got it.
kind of got working. But the good part is too, even with the radio side, the radio side helped me be able to talk to people. Funny story, when I was at Full Sail, I was deathly afraid to speak in public. I didn't skip class, but I definitely thought about it when I was there, just because I didn't want to, do public speaking. But radio, required us to be on the phone and cold call and make sure that people had your stuff. So, just really good at building those relationships. And that's really kind of what my internship was about.
Hey, Jared, I think your success, like get into just your mindset on like the skills that you acquired and the skills that you developed prior to school, and just being open-minded to maybe a lot of things that you didn't know how a company structure worked when you got boots hit the ground, and just being able to just be open-minded to just learn how one particular company is used to doing certain things. That's something that we really express to our students. As you're learning these things in school, it may be one way, we teach the rules, but once you get to this company, they have a format. And just as important as music is, music is very dear to me. I understand it from the production side of it. Sometimes we could get caught in our own head with just the music side of it. And there's so many other things, like you mentioned,
Right.
Publishing, the radio, how is this going to be released? Are the mixes right? Are the deliverables to spec? Is this going to film? Is this going to TV, radio? It's just so many variables. So it's interesting that you were able to get that insight. It's I think such a relatively short amount of time. Usually people going to labels usually have to work up for many years to get maybe to the place of where you are.
Well, and that's the cool part about it, is that at the time, EMI Gospel, which was where I was at, it was kind of like a boutique boutique gospel label. Even though they were like number 2 gospel label, they were still kind of small in numbers. So I got a chance to sit with the marketing director and the publicist and the president and the VP, and really get a chance to spend some time with them and stuff like that. But it's funny because when I got there, just like watching the band, I thought, I was had to go get some cheesecake or something like that, but I was prepared, I prepared myself. I wasn't a coffee drinker at the time, but I learned how to make coffee just in case somebody needed it. Like I said, coming from Alaska, my goal was not to go back, because I knew that the music industry wasn't very big there. And so, I studied and learned, who were the key players there. I actually even built out flashcards, which I thought was funny, but, built out flashcards so I could, know the person's name and what they did and, just a little bit about their history. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, so what would you say, if someone was, and we have so many wonderful things to talk about this, but as someone is listening to you and here and say, I've looked into A&R, what what type of advice would you give to someone if that is a direction that they want to go into?
You know what? I would tell people to, if you want to go into A&R, start local. Find an artist that's building, in your area. Or if you're at Full Sail, find an artist that's building and ask them, how can you be of some service? A lot of times people think, A&R is just, throwing songs at somebody or finding connections for somebody. And it's really about serving people. I'm serving an artist in their creation. I'm making sure that they're staying, direct in what they're trying to do. If they've created a vision, I'm trying to make sure that that vision is coming to fruition.
Mhm.
So, find an artist and find somebody to build with. You got an up and coming artist, you want to be an A&R, do that. Even in Alaska, I worked with a couple of people like from my church that, wanted to be artists. And I was like, man, you know, I would produce for them because I wanted to be a producer. You know what I'm saying? I learned the business and tell them about business because that's what I wanted to do. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Stretching out, I like how you said, starting your hometown. That's something that we talk about here, being a hometown hero quite a
Yeah.
bit. Sometimes we look at just the music meccas, the Nashvilles, the LAs, the New
Mhm.
Yorks, Miami's. Just like you have to. Not every student will be able to be equipped to relocate to those areas. So it's good that you mentioned of doing things in your local area, working with teams. I think that's extremely important. Um, we talked the other day about A&R briefly, and we talked about preparedness. And I know for myself as a music producer, before I even sort out seeking an A&R for a particular project that I want to pitch an artist to, I'm making sure that I understand what that artist's fans are, or what the
Yeah.
label even is looking for, or how
Right.
if this is something that the label, is this a marketable product for the label. So I try to do that research myself. So it's good that you're giving us this insight, or,
Yeah.
and I know it's really no direct path or just one magical answer to say, okay, this is how you get into it. It's just a
True.
product of little things that you do along the way. So that's
Right.
really interesting about that. As far as we keep talking about A&R, you mentioned all the publishing side of things.
Mhm.
Which for those who don't know, and you're releasing music, as you may be working as a writer or as a producer, and that's just one side of it. But then from the publishing side, that's when you have all your print, and you have a publishing company is there to serve and get the songs placed where they need to be and connect you with other writers and other publishers and things of that nature. But specifically, like, what was some of your duties in the publishing world while you was working A&R?
Well, so it's funny. So, one thing about labels is that labels, they have turnovers every now and then, right? It's just part of the business, right? So while I was doing A&R, I think I've been doing A&R for about 8 years. And I always talked about not wanting to get pigeonholed into what I'm doing. And so, A&R, I was in the Christian and gospel world, and I was like, man, I just love music. I'm a lover of music and all genres, so I don't want to get pigeonholed in it. And so, during the turnover, I've been working with a guy. kind of building the gospel publishing side. There was a couple people out there, the Marvin Sapps, the Fred Hammonds, of course, the Kurt Franklins, that this guy was working with. And so I was actually helping introduce him to all these guys in our world, because he wasn't really used to our world. And so during that part, the guy ended up leaving. And of course I asked the question, well, hey, who's going to do this? Because we've been building, and we got a lot going on over here. What's going on? And so literally, they were like, hey, it's you. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll take on that role. In my mind, at the time, I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking, man, it's gonna be more money. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is it. But literally, they told me, they were like, hey, we don't really know if you got it just yet, so we're not actually gonna pay you, but let's see what you have. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, cool. I was up for the task. Because I've always kind of had that mindset of, let me show you, show you my worth, show you my value.
Yeah.
And so, we did that, and just so happens that, everything kind of aligned in that time. Kurt Franklin was working with Kanye West. Chance the Rapper was working with Fred Hammond. And so, it actually helped me out in my goals, because I was able to transcend gospel, and not be pigeonholed into just the gospel world, but also get a chance to meet some of the what we call the top 40 artists as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll never forget my very first conversation in publishing was with a guy by the name of Aubrey, which, as we know, is Drake, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm sitting on the phone, and it's like, yeah, man, so we got Aubrey, on the phone, and 40, his producer, and they were sampling a song called "Question Is" by the Winans. And so I'm sitting there, not getting paid, but I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm thinking like, yo, my wife's not even gonna believe this story. Like, what'd you do today? Yeah, I was on the phone with Drake.
That's no big deal.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But we was able to work through that. And so on Views, the actual song Views, has the Winans Question Is, and I was able to be a part of that negotiation with the sample. Wow. Stuff like that. Yeah, man. Of course, that's I believe it's 6 times platinum now. Ooh, and
that's huge.
Yeah, so just be a part of that. And then of course, Marvin Sapp, who was another great friend, but also artist. He did a song called Never Would Have Made It.
Oh,
and, yeah. And so, we got together with that, and DJ Khaled, he did a song with his son, for his son, that had Chance the Rapper on it again. So we kind of crossed paths again on that thing. And, was able to do that, as well as Lil Wayne on the Carter 5. He used the same sample. And so, in publishing, it's about exploiting your copyrights. You know what I mean? And so that's really what we do.
That's awesome. And that's, this business here, it's an investment of time.
It is.
What you've done in that case, in that scenario that you let us know and share it with us, you invested your time. You could have walked away and said, I'm not in a position to do this. I need to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they probably would have respected it and then just said, okay, next, we'll catch you on the next
absolutely.
one. But you stuck around because you saw the big picture. You saw the big picture. You saw that you were in a position to utilize skills that you had and actually prove that you were designed to be in there with people to trust you with this information, that you were willing and you were prepared for that. And that's extremely important. One of the things that I tell my students all the time, because we always say it's who you know, and I like to say it's who knows you.
Right.
know?
Right. Well, that's actually good though, man. Like literally, for me, like I told the story, I started publishing out, not getting paid, but that's, that same year we won a couple of awards, BMI awards, for songs we did. And, I'm walking up on stage as, the BMI guy, or the publishing guy, for Capitol. And literally people up there like, yo, Jared, I see you, man. I'm thinking like, what in the world? Like, it was kind of surreal, and people talking about, yo, we got to work together and stuff like that. And that actually doing that free job actually catapulted me into my next job, which was, head of creative over at RCA Inspiration. So, Yeah, which I mean, once you got over there, I mean, the money was grand, but but
Yeah.
taking that just that leap of faith,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
it's a process. It's a
it
process.
is.
So students out there, don't give up on your dreams. Your dreams brought you here to Full Sail because you found a home. You found a
Yes.
place where, you hear Jared speaking, you hear me talking, and Jared and I have similarities in our background. It's interesting when we're putting this all together, and I'm nowhere on your platform, sir.
You there,
But
bro? You there?
it was such an interesting moment to be in Nashville, Tennessee a few months back at the Dove Awards. And that was such a extreme, a moment as a nominee. And I spoke with you about that experience of, you've been there several times.
Yeah.
But it never gets old, the work that we put into this. And I'm sure as you A&R or you work in your own company, as you're putting things together, it's always the next job or the next client, the next artist you work with, it's always so different and so unique. How, Jared, so you've been at this some time. How do you sustain it? How do you sustain the music business? You work in A&R, you work in publishing, you're a
Yeah.
music producer. How do you sustain it?
You know what? Partnerships, you know, um, understanding that the star, or the light doesn't have to be on me all the time. I always say that the light is a revolving light, and it's kind of swinging. And, when it's on somebody that you're partnering with, you make sure that you support them and what they're doing. And likewise, when it's on, me, they're supporting me and, and doing that. I mean, I've made great friends, in this industry, because the industry is ever changing, and one thing that was really taught to me at the very beginning of it was, not to burn any bridges. The same people you see going up are the same people that you see coming down. And that is so true.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
I mean, I've been to the highest, I've been to low, in my 14-year journey as music industry executive. But never once have I tried to burn a bridge, or if it felt like a bridge might have been singed, I always try to make sure I go back and tighten it up, because that's never my heart in what I do. So yeah, but great partnerships, and all that. Even with Full Sail.
Absolutely.
Like I said, Brandon Edgerton was my mentor in the industry, and then he went and started working at Full Sail, in his transition. But in everything that we've done, I've always tried to bring him, or like a Darren Schneider, back into the fold somehow. I got a partnership with them where we're mixing stuff, and we did Corinne Hawthorne's records, and
Yes.
those are Dove, Stellar, and Grammy
Grammys.
nominated,
Yes.
and yeah, and we actually got a gold, certified gold record with Donna Lawrence and Leandria on a song called "Deliver Me" that was actually written by his name is now leaving. Sir the Baptist is his name. It's actually written originally with Sir the Baptist and Brandy. And so when I was hanging on at RCA, Leandria, there was something going on in her family and she needed a place to record. And so, I called up Brandon and them, and she was actually able to record there at Full Sail.
Oh, wow.
So Full Sail was able to be a part of it,
Nice. Nice.
yeah, so Billboard #1s, and I mean, we got Stellar Awards. The Stellar Award I got for that project, I gave it to the school there, and yeah, so it's been a wild ride, but it's definitely partnerships, man.
That's it. I would have to agree.
Yeah,
Since the pandemic, and I'm starting to see a lot of my friends go back out on national and international tours, and things are opening back up. But what is the climate of today's A&R? What's the climate, and what, from your perspective, from what you've experienced? We talked briefly about how, a part of your job as an A&R is scouting. It's
yeah,
scouting talent, finding talent. Can you, maybe give us some perspective on like how things are working in the modern day with A&R?
yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's going to date me and make me feel like super old, but I kind of came in the transition of physical CDs and streaming.
Yes.
Or physical CDs,
Okay.
digital
Yeah.
albums, and then streaming. And so literally how we looked at that, I mean, I would go out a lot. I'd spend a lot of time in Atlanta or LA, Chicago, and places like that, just kind of checking out artists, or having them send stuff to me. And nowadays I'm noticing, like, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on
Mhm.
IG, SoundCloud, because a lot of people are, kind of taking the initiative now and putting up their own stuff. I mean, nowadays it's really finding somebody to partner with, as a label versus going out, finding somebody and developing them. People are kind of developing themselves, and we're just
So
kind of, sanding the edges down, if you will.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's already a diamond, and we're just, trying to polish it up and give it a tag for, a label, just to kind of give it that, that pat on the back. So
Yes.
that's really kind of how it is now, man. Spend a lot of time on the internet. It looks like, it's like, man, you surfing the internet a lot. I'm constantly looking at artists.
Looking at the next big thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the internet is awesome too, because for labels who, sometimes their finances, do what they do, and it's like, man, if you're checking out somebody across the pond over there in England, or K-pop or something like that,
Yes.
you can now get to them, via Zoom, or internet and stuff like that. So that's really the difference, and it's worked out well.
Absolutely. That's good.
Mhm.
I figured as much because, as I work with my teams, that's something that we do. We polish things up. And the part of what traditionally would be in the scope of A&R, of like overseeing artist development and things like that, that's kind of something that lands on the content creator before they even, reach out, making sure that they're at the best quality, best recording, and doing all the things to maximize, the things that they say that they want. So that's good. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's see. So you got a lot of bling on the wall back there. Those are the projects we talked about. That's awesome, Jared. I know sometimes it must seem surreal, but you're a very humble guy, and you have such a big heart, and all the things that you've done. Again, like you spoke of the partnership with Brandon and Darren. For those who don't know, Brandon, as Jared mentioned, is our program director for Recording Arts. So our sister program, we're in audio production. But what Jared has also done also with bringing these projects into the school has been good, because students that are on campus have been able to participate and just kind of shadow, and sometimes just seeing the process is so important. One of the things we talk about, Jared, in our degree track is, through our portfolio cycles, is modeling success. And I'm sure, as you mentioned early in the conversation, 6 months into your studies, you were already looking for the jobs. You were trying to find the key players. Uh, who's in place, who am I going to reach out to after graduation? Graduation is approaching really near and close. So thanks for giving us that information. But so what's next? Cadelis,
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
label
sir.
group. What are you working on now?
Man, so let me give you a little bit of backstory about the Cudelis group. So I was, at Sony, worked there for 3 years. We did great. Of course, you saw the accolades and stuff that came from there.
Mhm.
The only thing I hadn't really done was kind of stepped out on my own. A lot of people were asking me to do that, still in the Christian and gospel section, but other people were coming and asking questions. And when you work at a label, you get a lot of red tape. And so in order to be able to step out and do that, I had to to leave and start the Cudelis group. And the Cudelis group is it's my grandfather's name. His name was Cudelis, and to me, he was a jack of all trades, but he was excellent at all of them. Right? How they say a jack of all trades, master of none. He actually was excellent at everything he did. I mean, he was in the military, came out, sold insurance. He was a chef and all of that type of stuff. And so, for me, it was a way to honor my grandfather, but also kind of start my own thing. And I call it the Q-Dallas group because we do many things. We work in music, but we also work in film. We work in television, and stuff like that. So publishing. And so, so created this, got together with a couple of my friends, and it's like, hey, so here's the idea. Can we do this? And so, we've been doing it now. This is our third year.
Oh, congrats,
Doing
congrats.
that. I'm running it as president, but I also do consulting. I work with the Potter's House. Bishop T.D. Jakes is one of my clients. We were talking about Marvin Sapp. He now has his own label, and so I am, helping him oversee his label as well, on the label services admin side, as well as publishing, as well as an artist by the name of Smokey Norfolk, which
Oh yeah, Smoking Norfolk. He's
yeah,
awesome. Okay.
and so that was really cool to kind of see that. But then I also have up and coming labels that I'm working with. There's a label that I'm working with out of Virginia, Chesapeake, Virginia, called International Breakthrough Records, and we actually just signed our first artist over there. His name is Jamerick Campbell, and so he's getting ready to come out top of next year. And then another label in Hammond, Louisiana, called A&P Records, and they house an artist called Titus Showers. And Titus Showers, he had gotten some recognition. He sang with his family and stuff, but then I got in there with some of my producers and writers, and he went from just like a local artist to singing at the inauguration for president and first lady and vice president Kamala. So but literally just branching out. And it's funny because I actually have a writer session tomorrow, or with a guy in Nigeria.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, and they reached out. They reached out on Instagram. The guy was like, "Man, I've been following you ever since your publishing days, and I got a label out here, and we got distribution through Capital, but I'd love to just get with you and your artists." And so so via Zoom, we're doing a
That's
writing session
very
tomorrow.
interesting. That's very
Yeah,
cool. That's awesome.
yeah, but we've gotten a chance to get music on Black Ink Chicago, doing stuff like with label services and music services, as well as get a chance to work on a couple of movies that are coming out soon. So
Oh
you know,
wow. That's
yeah,
awesome. Some great things on the horizon.
yes sir, yes sir.
That's awesome. Where could our students find, or maybe your information online?
You know what? I'm a social media guy. So, IG is where I always like to send people. Of course, LinkedIn, you can definitely go there as well. But IG is at Jarrett P. Dyson. That
Okay.
is Jarrett. The letter P is in Paul, Dyson like the vacuum cleaner, Dyson. So yeah.
That's awesome, Jared. That's awesome. We definitely could spend another 30 minutes, an hour just talking about everything you just mentioned,
Yeah.
with labels, and I think that's a testament to what you was mentioning earlier. I actually grew up. I went to high school in Portsmouth, Virginia, so Chesapeake is right across the
Yeah.
bridge. But yes, I music wise, there's a lot of rich history there, from the Timberland camps,
Yeah.
Eddie Riley's and all of the Pharrell, so a lot of great artists that's come out of that area. But that's interesting because I think that, again, that's a testament to how that team, and those labels and those groups and writers and producers are getting together, and then partnering with other companies to make their
Yeah.
dreams come true. So that's definitely the sauce, of how to put things together, especially in your own region. And I
Mhm.
think students, we really can't express that enough, because
Yeah.
that's something that I personally do. I know my team spans everywhere from Austin, Texas to to Connecticut, New York, LA, so on any given day it's
Yeah.
Dropbox, people putting stuff in file, so
Absolutely.
it could seem like a big, ball of confusion at time, but that unified vision of what we're working towards is that participation and that teamwork, as you mentioned, and that partnership. So that's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I'm gonna tell you, man, those partnerships are amazing. Like when I left Sony that first week, I was getting calls from different people, and it was like, They were like, man, we know you left, but hey, can we partner? Like, can we figure out a way to partner? I mean, there's a mastering engineer. His name is Herb Powers.
Oh, Herb, yeah.
And Herb has mastered everybody from Michael
Oh,
Jackson
yeah.
to, I think the other day he was doing something for JD. But they wanted to partner with me, and so I was like, man, I was honored, just to see that they wanted to partner. And so, I have partnerships. I have a partnership with them as my mastering house. I have a partnership with my guys over there at Full Sail, as my engineers and stuff that we're running through there. But also, since you're talking about VA, I got a bunch of VA people, man. It's like there's something in that water out there, man.
It's something in the water for sure.
Y'all are just musical,
I'm
what I'm saying?
that.
But it's good to see that, you know what I mean? Like be able to partner with those people. And like you said, just having that team, that can expand. Like, I don't have to be everywhere because my team is everywhere. We build, my job is to build that structure and to make sure that, that everybody's eating, so. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, this, I don't know if this not off topic, but I was talking about real briefly about networking because, as someone is listening to you talk and hearing about your team and partnership, they may be sitting at home somewhere in their small town, like, I absolutely don't know anyone, like how do I build a network? What you have any advice or tips on building your network?
I do. One, always be genuine. When you're talking to anybody, you have to be genuine. I always tell people that I'm more of a relational person than a transactional person. And what that means is that I prefer to build a relationship with you and then we can be transactional later than to just come to you for a favor and then never see you again. All of my relationships have started that way. I would also say, think outside the box. Music is everywhere and in everything. I got a call the other day from the Golf Channel. Oh, wow. And the Golf Channel is doing a streaming network. They were on Instagram, and they saw one of my producers, and it was like, hey, who are you? We want to, we love to do that. And believe it or not, it's the Golf Channel, right? But they love trap music, and so here we are, building out packages, of bumpers, intros, outros, and in between of trap music for the Golf Channel streaming network. So it's like, man, there's so many different opportunities. I'm working with a couple people on like soundscapes and stuff like that. So, just like branching out. Like I said, just be authentic, be real. I always tell people that if you can't do it and you can't do it, find somebody that can. And that's really networking. Hey, I might not be great at this, but I know you are great at this. So, hey, can we partner in this? I'll bring you the talent, you can do the work. And it's really about, hey, it's investment, sweat equity, and a share in the royalty. That's really what it is.
That's it. That's
it. Yeah.
And students, if you're an engineer out there and you say, well, I don't have the talent, to sing or put together demos to submit, again, that's when you reach out. And I tell students all the time, Jarrett, you want to build your network, you in the classroom, the virtual space with someone that may end up in their dream role. And then you're used to working around the clock, late labs and, getting your deliverables in. So you understand the formula, what it takes to succeed. This is how you build your network from today.
Yeah.
You may not reach that president of the label and be able to get that meeting right away, but there are layers to this and steps. There's a hierarchy to this to get to that point. So that's awesome, Jarrett. One thing I want to add, to that is LinkedIn. It could be extremely resourceful.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? LinkedIn for me was not my strong point. I'm trying to think of it. Katrina Green. Over there at Full Sail was like, Jarrett, she stayed on me and was like, Jarrett, you got to get on LinkedIn. You got to get on LinkedIn. She's like, I sent you some. Oh, okay, well, where you send it? Because I didn't get it. She was like, it's on LinkedIn. And so that's what really kind of helped me get on that. And LinkedIn has actually been really big, for me as well. So, yeah.
I have an interesting story about LinkedIn. When I was going after my Korg deal. Korg is a keyboard synthesizer manufacturer, and I was looking for the reps for Korg. So I was like, where can I find the reps? Went on LinkedIn and found the
Yeah.
reps, found the contact information and
Yeah.
everything, and was eventually able to set up my plan of action, my
Right.
stream of emails or the things
Mhm.
I wanted to send out to the person that I wanted to seek after this deal. So LinkedIn could be extremely resourceful to get in with A&Rs or just
Yeah.
being able to figure out the music business. And always there's a lot of resources out here. You want to find out where people are, where they're working, and meaning how the industry changes, positions and where people are. So as Jared mentioned, you want to always, he had flashcards. So that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like that, that's, hey, whatever it takes, I needed one today.
Nah, you was good, man. You're good.
But that's awesome. Want to see if we have any questions in the live feed. So we don't have any questions at this time.
Okay.
Um, but
I
we
mean,
are,
they're listening.
yeah, a lot of listening and taking it
marinating on
in.
it.
And
Yep.
sometimes listening to a discussion, you can learn so much, and the questions will come later. But
Right.
Jared, it's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You're extremely busy professional, and we respect your time and love what you do here at Full Sail and all that you give back. So thank you again. We have to have you back and have more of these discussions.
Definitely. Definitely.
For sure. But we're getting close to the top of our time here. So I would like to thank everyone for, joining in to our live feed with Jared Dyson. It's been a pleasure. I also want to give a very special shout out to the show production team and everyone that's working behind the scenes. They got this wonderful light on me and the cameras, and got Jared here in our virtual space. So thank you all for your contributions. Much success to you as well. So we will have these on a monthly basis. Again, be sure to check this out. This will be archived. And if you wasn't able to attend live, hopefully you're able to see the archive and be influenced in some way as you pursue your own dreams. So once again, I'm Derek Harvin. We have Jared Dyson here joining us discussing A&R. Much success to you all. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Jared.
No problem. Thank you.
Awesome.